Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is Laughin' Games here. I'm back with another one of these SC Evo casts. For those of you wondering what that means, it is going to be the greatest mod created for Starcraft 2, and that's because it combines Brood War and Starcraft 2. So we have got ourselves a Brood War Terran player, Spirit, going to be taking on Wayne, a good European Zerg. And so yeah, this should be a fun one. I cast quite a bit of TVP, so I decided to TVZ. It looks fun in this mod. There's definitely a bit of a meta around it, in the sense that it seems Terrans like to be quite aggressive early on. But as I say that, we're going to be having a command center first play from Spirit. We're on Purity and Industry, Starcraft Evo League. I believe this was a Starcraft 2 map quite a while ago. That's the very cool thing about these mods, is that they change things up, but then we also get to see some older maps come back. Yeah, I think this was an early Legacy of the Void map. Maybe one of the first ones to show off these inhibitor zones. And these inhibitor zones, they have a very cool feature. I'll get more into that in just a moment, but before we get too far into this cast, ladies and gentlemen, this is a full best of 3 between these players, so if you want to see more of these, make sure to go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. If we can hit 10 likes on this video, that would be great. Also, it's a new YouTube channel, so consider subscribing as I put up daily StarCraft content. And yeah, it's just been a good time so far casting on the channel. Also, leaving a comment definitely helps on the main channel, or I guess the AI channel. Everyone's pretty good at commenting. More bots. So if you guys can comment, I don't know, Terran OP, Zerg OP, Protoss OP, or just I don't know, gaming OP, whatever it may be, as it does help with the YouTube algorithm quite a bit. So to go on about these inhibitor zones, they have a very cool feature in the sense that they allow the main bases to be very close on maps without them actually being that close, because they slow units down by 35%. So the best way to look at it, in my opinion, is to say basically there's 35% more distance to travel, or you travel 35% slower through them. So it's like the dead space is a lot bigger. You can still travel through them, but it does create some wacky dynamics. Now, as far as dynamics go, we've got Spirit off the back of this quick natural command center. He's going into the Terran bio, unsurprisingly. That seems to be very much the meta in this matchup, in the Brood War Terran versus Starcraft 2 Zerg. That's because just the Terran bio pushes are so strong. So for someone like Wayne, who maybe hasn't played too much of this mod, but maybe is just looking at its surface level, if you play a few games, you're going to find out, like, right, I need to be ready to deal with early Terran pressure. Because Brood War Terran has very accessible bio units in the sense that they can go for things like 3 racks and research stim, but they don't need to wait for an add-on to research stim because it's researched at the academy. So that sort of gives them a little bit of a boost in production. Then they also get medics, which are incredibly strong. Basically, it's healing factor that wouldn't be accessible to StarCraft 2 Terran until at least a minimum of like 5 minutes into the game. So it's quite strong, which is why we have Wayne staying on 2 bases right now, just making lots of roaches off of 2 bases. And it seems like we do have a little bit of meta play right now, because the Terrans, they like to build bio and try and kill the Zerg early on, and the Zergs, they usually like to cut corners. But Wayne's probably thinking right now, if I make enough roaches that I can just crush a potential move out by Spirit, I'll be in a very commanding position. Now, the Terran player is moving out on the map. Wayne doesn't have too much of a heads up that this is coming his way. Well, he does actually have his Overseer scouting now, so that's big. Sees the third, sees the factory. Important scouting. but he will still have to deal with all this bio. Now, the Zerg is building up to Roach speed as well, so a potential big counterattack. Spirit hasn't scouted at all. He's going to just send one Marine up this ramp. He's going to be gobbled up, and he's actually just going to stim in. Now, the Fire Bats, they deal massive amounts of splash damage, so that does force Wayne to pull some of his units back. An injured Roach does get pulled back. Creep is spreading across the map. Wayne is going to go for a counterattack. And the Terran player, he is building a siege tank and getting siege mode, but it's a long way off. And this is a 2-base Zerg all-in. We don't really see this in StarCraft 2 TVZ these days because StarCraft 2's Terran's macro is so strong, Zerg really can't commit to something like this. But against a Brood War Terran, this is a very strong counterattack by Wayne. I love the decisions he's made in the game number 1 of this best of 3. Spirit, I mean, he's got bio, he's got a bunker, has a Marine pop out on the wrong side of the map. A tank is out, and it is going to have siege mode researched already. Yes, you heard that right. StarCraft 1 Terran does have to research siege mode. But all in all, it does seem that Wayne is just going to get a few depots, force the racks to lift off. I'd love to see some more Corrosive Bile to kill off this one depot. Looks like he's actually going to try and get the racks, but a successful contain on Spirit. We'll see if Spirit potentially lifts his command center off and takes it to the island. That is an option in this mod. Wayne behind this has got his 3rd command center up, but Spirit just sees that that's building now, so he knows that he's fine staying on 2 bases for quite a while. He's producing all these tanks. Another racks is lifted off to give vision of this. And yeah, Spirit's just contained, going into triple siege tank production, which is no joke. I really like this. Wayne is actually going for an infestation pit, getting +1 attack on the way. Dare I say, on this map, Purity of Industry, against a Terran that's going into Hellbat, or pardon me, into siege tanks, I'd love to see Swarm Host here from Wayne. I think that would potentially be a great play as... Oh, look at that. He actually is going into Swarm Host. I mean, it was a little obvious with him going for the infestation pit, but you never know with Swarm Host till a player pulls the trigger. And StarCraft 2 Brood War Terran, pardon me, is very mech heavy, so Swarm Host for the StarCraft 2 Zerg could have a lot of effectiveness here. I mean, Spirit isn't exactly flush with anti-air. He's building lots of turrets, maybe worried of mutas, that kind of thing. But Wayne is just going to be going for Swarm Host. He's got a decent Roach army to prevent an easy move out, and Spirit's supply is quite low right now, so the Terrans could be in a little bit of trouble. He's probably going to need another turret, maybe a bunker or two, but the problem is, like, with Swarm Host, they scale very well. Like, if the first wave gets some damage, usually the second wave is going to get more damage done, and then it's just a downward spiral. We're seeing the Swarm Host walk forward. Wayne is going to get ready to toss out this wave of Locust. Spirit did so well in the last SC Evo Cup. This game number 1 is a little bit concerning for him, but we shall see as he's just macroing away, getting up a 4th command center. He really is a macro Terran, but he's going to be a Terran in a little bit of trouble right now because if the Swarm Host pick off a few tanks, Wayne can potentially just charge on in. An eBay is floating over for Spirit. That will never not look goofy. A StarCraft 2 eBay floating over. Turret and Goliaths are doing what they can against the Locust, but they are going to land. Wow, look at how much damage those Brood War tanks actually do to the Locust, though. That is huge. That was really, really well done. Not a single tank died there. I guess the Brood War tanks, they just deal extra damage to a Locust that they're able to delete them a little quicker than StarCraft 2 siege tanks. So Spirit only loses 5 SCVs. Now 5 SCVs, it's still 5 SCVs. But it could have been a lot worse there. I feel the eBay scouting out as being a bit of a nuisance. There is more Swarm Host on the way for Wayne, as the Zerg is on 4 bases, but a much lower economy than Spirit. Right now it's 74 SCVs to 59 drones. Ravagers can still potentially Corrosive Bile down some of these tanks. Still, though, he's got to get 3 off at once. In comes another wave of Locust, going to be trying to breach the front as Wayne was thinking about going in with his regular troops as these Locusts buffer. They are landing, but I mean, look at how quick those tanks destroyed them. So Wayne gets a few tanks, loses a few units though, and Spirit's defense is just quite incredible right now. The Zerg seems to be a little bit stumped that he wasn't able to kill Spirit. I guess the +1 attack on the tanks is helping out. All the Goliaths definitely are helping out. We're seeing more Roaches and Ravagers on the way for Wayne, but the Zerg may need to transition. I personally would love a Nidus Swarm here. Maybe that's just because I have Nidus on the brain right now, but a Nidus in the main could be a very strong move. against Spirit. We'll see, though, as the Terran, he's got his racks floating out, realizing the Zerg doesn't have anti-air. The Locust are moving in, but look how quickly they die against these tanks. They are going to land. A few of them actually do have great success. Wow, all of a sudden, Wayne just makes a bit of an adjustment to get his Locust closer to the tanks, and he kills like 4 of them. So that is really, really big damage. Spirit just all of a sudden loses his main backbone. In fact, he's lost every single siege tank. So I think he may have been like a little bit overconfident with how well those tanks were doing at first. But Wayne, he makes a micro adjustment. He gets big damage. And now the Terran is in an incredible amount of trouble. As, look at this, Wayne just moves on in. Spirit, he does get a tank shot or 2 off on some of those swarm hosts, and they actually deal massive damage. Or maybe that was a spider mine or something. Anyway, now the Terran has no choice but to retreat in the face of these Locusts. There's going to be another wave off cooldown in like 30 seconds or so. That's not a long time in StarCraft 2. It is and it isn't, but when you're on the defensive, it's not a long time. We have got a Wraith coming in. That's going to help out, as it will force Wayne to get some anti-air potentially, but a Wraith deals so little damage to a Zerg. These Roaches and Ravagers, they can potentially just kill the whole Terran army before this Wraith is able to really do much of anything. Spirit, I mean, he's repaired his command center, and he is mining off a 4th, which is big, but right now it's 110 supply against 164. A second Wraith is on the way. Wayne's investing in a Hydra Den, realizing the Wraiths could be problematic, but look at this. Another wave of Locusts coming on in. Spider Mines will help clean this out. The mines go off on the Locust. Maybe it was actually the mines that killed off the first few waves. That may be my mistake, if I'm incorrect with that. It might have been a bit of mines, bit of tanks. It's tough to say. The 4th of Spirit is now being gutted. SCVs have no choice but to run away. The Wraiths, they just deal so little damage. They're pathetic. Some Brood War flying units are not that good, like Scouts, for example. Spirit is now looking for a bit of a counterattack, potentially, with his Vultures. He tosses down some mines, but the space is being worked on. Tanks on the high ground are doing all right for themselves. Wayne gets pushed back a little bit, but in comes another wave of Locusts. The 4th is relanding. Spirit's economy really tanked. This counterattack by the Vultures is huge, but it's a little late, unfortunately. And now Wayne is going to be not pushed back. And oh, the tanks, they were all sieged up in position just to eat a wave of Locusts. That is so painful for Spirit. That is not what he needed. The Terran, he's now down to 96 supply against 171. And that is a huge army difference. Wayne is going into Hydras, so he doesn't have to worry about the Wraiths anymore. I mean, there's 5 Wraiths out, but like Hydras will just destroy these things, no problem. So Spirit's in a world of trouble. The Locusts are not being contested. There's now Infestors out. I think Wayne has done a great job here in game number 1 in this best of 3. Really phenomenal play here. I mean, yeah, look at this. The Wraiths, they're doing what they can against the Hydras. They deal a little bit of extra damage versus light, I want to say. No, it's actually just anti-air. It's same damage, just 10 damage. Not much damage at all. I think Wayne is going to take this one with this attack forward. So well done to the Zerg player, bringing down a player who did really well in the last StarCraft Evo. And it's not over yet, though, as it is a best of 3. The races will probably swap in the next game. Oh, pardon me, I just have to rename this replay, as there is a little bit of a bug with the replays in that if Korean characters don't display in the client, and so yeah, there's a small bug, but nothing too significant. You just got to rename the replays to fix it. Anyway, here we are in the upper left. It is Wayne the Zerg now having to play Brood War Zerg against Spirit. And I'm not too sure if Wayne is going to be that familiar with Brood War, ladies and gentlemen, as he is, well, he's a very, very good player. I think he's quite young. Let me just double check. Wayne SC2. Yeah, born in 2001. So, like, he is younger than Brood War. So I'm not sure how much he'll have played it. Still, though, he's a very crafty Zerg. I respect Wayne in the sense as a tournament organizer. He is someone who's always willing to play in cups. And that's actually really helpful for the StarCraft 2 scene, because for some reason there is not a lot of European Zergs that will play in cups. Some of the best European players, like Raynor, Serral, are just, they're phenomenally good, but they do not play in online cups. So then we kind of have a bit of a drought as far as Zergs playing in these cups. So here we are. We have got Wayne going for a pool first. It is a 4-player map, Neo Isles of ... So the players, they're kind of wondering a little bit what to do next. As far as like scouting patterns, looks like Wayne does get lucky. He sees Spirit's command center. Does he turn the Overlord around? No, he doesn't. This is a bit of a mistake, I think, because he can keep Spirit in the dark, but then he reveals the Overlord, so it's a little bit late of a pullback. If Spirit saw that, he now knows where Wayne is. The Terran player, he's going for multiple racks opening, double gas after this CC first. I wonder if Spirit's going to make a few Reapers and try and bully Wayne. That would be cool. We haven't really seen a Terran try mass Reapers against Brood War Zerg. Yeah, just once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still watching this match and you're not a subscriber to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And then if you want to keep watching after this video is done, there will be another video popping up on the screen right at the end, more Starcraft casts. And yeah, let's see where this one goes. The Brood War Lings are quite cool. They look very zippy. Their weird little hands. This might be a relic from when Blizzard was a little unsure of what exactly the Zerg was. And they're like, Zerglings are mutated humans. That's why they have hands coming out of their heads. And it's like, well, now they're just Zerg. We still have things like Infested Terran and Aberrations, which I think are humans in StarCraft 2. But Zerglings are quite clearly Zerg. They hatch. They're not infested. We've got an extractor out for Wayne. I believe this is a rich Vespene geyser at the natural base. Pardon me. Yeah, it is. So that's a very interesting feature on this map. That's actually going to benefit whichever player takes that immensely. I suppose that that's a little bit of extra payment for the fact that the natural base is quite small. Only 7 mineral patches. Pardon me, is that small? Yeah, versus the 8 of a regular base. It's not that much smaller. But look at that, a second rich Vespene gas. So players are going to have tons and tons of gas and really just supercharged economies on this map, because the less SCVs or drones you got mining gas, because, well, you're getting extra gas for fewer workers mining, then that means you can put more on minerals. We've got a very cool opening from Wayne going for a Spire. Brood War Mutas is not something we've seen a lot of, but he's going to give it his all. I genuinely don't know if Brood War Mutas will do well against a guy like Spirit, who's already making a lot of Marines. Looks like this Overlord is potentially going to get chased down. It does hide. Spirit's also going for a wall. Now, the thing of Neo Isles is that they're islands, which is a very interesting map, which is why players feel comfortable. Pardon me for not pointing this out sooner. It's not exactly glaringly obvious in my mind, because it's not something we have in StarCraft 2, island maps. But it is something we have in this game. That's why Spirit's going for Medivac, so he'll be able to drop his Marines. At the same time, getting reinforcements across the map won't be easy, and that's definitely why Wayne is probably going for Mutas in this map. Okay, so as this game continues on, we've got the Mutas on the way out for Wayne. We'll see if they beat Spirit. Spirit actually scans, so maybe not putting 2 and 2 together where Wayne was. So maybe not seeing that Overlord, but I feel like he should have seen it. His drop is moving across the map. I think Spirit is kind of misreading this completely. This has happened every time I've cast on this map, where a player does not know where their opponent is. Now Spirit is taking big damage on his side of the map as these Mutas do work for Wayne. Now, what an interesting map this is, being an island map. Look at that Spirit. He's like, oh no, I went to the wrong base, and now he's unloading his Marines in the wrong spot. I think Wayne is going to take this. Like, Spirit is just crumbling back at home. There's 0 counter damage being done. Oh my gosh, Spirit just dropping the ball super duper hard, going to the wrong location, even though there was a glimpse of the Overlord, even though there was an Overlord here, and just, yeah, really, really big mistake. Mutas are going to find Spirit's Medivacs. He's just going to GG out. The former I believe champion goes down to the lower bracket in this tournament as Wayne takes a quick 2-0 lead. Incredibly well done by the Zerg player. I mean, Spirit kind of gave him this game because like he wasn't prepared for the mutas. He misread the location. And then just dropping blindly is a big mistake. Like he scanned this location, I believe, and was like, oh, there's no hatch there. But then for some reason he still thought the Zerg was there. So maybe Spirit needs to do his homework a little bit more. Ladies and gentlemen, a bit of a shorter video here today, but if you enjoyed it, click that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time, and yeah, there'll be another video popping up on the screen right around now, so feel free to watch that. I'll see you next time.